So Brad, I think we're at 2:01. Your call if you want to get started. People
Yep.
are coming in. I don't see anyone waiting. So
Perfect. Well, let's jump in and begin. Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning for those in the West Coast. And it's nice to see everybody, and hope you are all staying healthy and warm, depending on which part of the country you're in. I know yesterday we were into the negative 25 wind chill in Chicago, and I see there's some stuff going out east, out west, out south. So just hope everybody is doing well and managing, and in addition to everything, and excited to have this call today. Just a real quick piece I want to share. The planning group had the opportunity to meet with some Traction Rec leadership last week, and it was a very productive conversation. And I would summarize it by, they are excited to work with us and wanting to really hear. We kind of shared some high-level takeaways. We shared what we've been discussing, and we engaged with them of how do we interface together to continue to be as a cohort of the movement of JCC with them, and that they can address our needs. So we're going to have a follow-up. We're hoping that over the course, they will come and listen and join in. We wanted to differentiate between their monthly kind of call and workshop and check-in, not being a duplicate, not being a replacement, rather being a different focus. So we will keep everybody posted. Just wanted to give you all an update in case you meet with any of the folks. They were very welcoming and excited that we are meeting, and the traction that our, no pun intended there, that the traction that our group is getting, and the support we have for each other. So thank you all for that continued piece. Today's call, we're going to turn it over to Laura Astrich, the facilities and IT manager of the Evelyn Rubenstein JCC in Houston. And Laura will take us through a rentals and associated contracts piece. And then we're going to come back together when Laura's done, have a couple of other general announcements. Fred's going to share a couple of thoughts and words with us. Then we're going to break out into 3 breakouts. Today's will be rentals, which would be a continuation from Laura's presentation. Second group will be how JCCs manage Traction Rec upgrades. And then the third one would be topics for future community of practice meetings. So topics for future meetings that we have, and we have found that to be really helpful and want to continue to keep that open. So with that, again, thank you all for joining. And Laura, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks. Okay, happy New Year, guys. And we do a lot of rentals here. Well, let's talk pre-COVID, after COVID. So we have a 300-seat theater. We have a ballroom down the street at our satellite. We do a lot of different types of rentals. I use the rental contracts. Methodist actually rents space from us here, and they pay monthly, so I use it for things like that. So we do a lot of different rentals. And I was telling the guys that when we rolled out with Trek, the functionality of the rental contract was not there yet. And so DG and I kind of built something to kind of use it for, and then it's really come a long way. And I actually really do like the rental contract functionality. And I hope you do too. So I'm going to kind of walk you through a couple, kind of like how to set it up, kind of an overview. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Let me just get my screen up here. Hold on 1 second. And where'd it go? Where'd it go? I got too many emails open. I can't see anything. There it is. Okay. And okay. Can everybody see this contract? Okay. So this is the Conga solution that I have for my rental contracts. Kind of pulling the information over. This is something that's been customized for me. It works nicely. I've got to kind of make some changes to it, but I kind of wanted to show you kind of like the end result and then how I got to that point. Okay. So with a rental contract, the first thing you want to look at is a rental contract type. So, and this can be just the general point of just a rental. You don't have to get into too much detail with the rental contract type. It's really just going to, it's a type feature, and I'll show you when we go through. It's kind of hard to explain in a second. But that's the first thing you want to do. You want to give a rental contract type. So we did just a room rental. You can add your product here, but I don't recommend it, because you're going to add the product at another section that will make much more sense down the road when you're adding like different types of rooms or different types of things to a rental contract. So yes, the first thing you want to do is just the rental contract type. And it's a really basic setup. It really is just put in this information and that's it. You can add the add-ons later here, and I'll show you how to do that. But for now, we're just going to start with the rental contract type. Okay. Then you need to set up your product and discount. So with the product and discount, we actually have a billing group for rentals, because we do billing for our rentals on a different day than we do for our regular programming. So, you know, you put in your regular information, and then when you get to the price level, this is where you can customize it for that type of rental. This one is going to be an hourly rate. For my theater, I have 3 different types of price levels. I have it by the hourly. I have a second hourly just for rehearsal time, which is a different price. And then you can also do a booking price, which is a full amount, like a flat fee. And then you'll put in all your GLs. Okay. Do not do a planned billing schedule if you're doing a basic rental. I do a planned billing schedule for my rentals similar to Methodist that will pay out through the year, and they have set up an ACH. And so those I will use a planned billing schedule. But if you're doing just kind of a one-off rental, do not use the planned billing schedule. It can kind of make things a little crazy. And don't use the initial fee. The initial fee you will not be able to refund. So we don't do deposits here as a non-refundable. Our deposits are 50%. You have to pay 50% up front, and then that goes to your total cost. If you're doing a deposit, you can use this deposit fee amount feature that is a returnable fee. Okay. So you have the deposit fee, the booking price, and the hourly. So just depending on how you do your rentals, you'll put your price level in accordingly. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay.
Is it all on transaction confirmed?
Mine are. Right now, they don't have the functionality for how I use it. I do 50%. So we have to do firm. I do the 50%, and then I post the balance to the account. I am looking at other ways to kind of get around that right now. But for rental contracts, unless you have planned billing schedule set up with it, it's not, the functionality is not there yet to, sorry, what was your question? I get totally sidetracked.
I asked if it was on transaction confirmed, if
Yeah.
we can
Yes.
do the first of the month equalized or.
Yes,
Yeah.
so you want to do it on, I do it on start date. So I do the revenue recognition on the start date,
Yeah,
because we want it on the day that the booking happened.
okay,
Okay, yes,
got it.
got it. Okay. You do have the ability to add on add-ons. One of our add-ons is a cleaning fee. And those are, I get my screen here, right here. It's just a record type of an add-on. And you're just gonna make it available. What did I do here? You're gonna make it available on the rental, okay? And one way to do that is this available for rentals button. Now, I didn't know this existed until a little while ago. You'll have to pull it down to your page layout. It wasn't there before, at least it wasn't on ours. So pull it down on your page layout, and you can add that and make it available for rentals. And then let me show you how we put it. Oh, wait, function. That's right. One more. Function. This is where you're going to add the different types of rentals you have. So I have a rehearsal one, which is going to give me a different price than the hourly one versus the flat rate one. So if I go, let me just go to all the functions here and you can kind of see all the ones I have. Okay. So just for my theater, I've got 4 different functions. And I'll explain in a minute why I have 4 different functions and not 4 different rental types. Because in a way that when you build a contract, in a way you add on to it, the functionality is better if you build functions, not record types. So one more thing we got to do for the preset is the booking contract option. Now, you should have set up all of these when you set up your facilities. You had a booking contract option for each one of your rooms to say for, classroom 102, here's the room, we need a BCO for it. And it's a tedious thing in the beginning of the setup if you were the ones who set up. You do the same thing with the rental. You add the function and then you add the price. And that's what ties it all together for the rental contract. Okay. So that was a lot of kind of treeing down. And I will send you guys, I'll reply back to this email that Gabe sent with some helpful links from Traction. I have a video of how to set it up. And I also have a kind of a knowledge article that is really helpful as well. And I'll link that to everybody afterwards. Okay, so let's get into it. I do my rentals from the calendar if they're one-off, if they're like a one-day thing. Now, you can do it from the facility availability search too. If you're doing a rental that's going to be consecutive days, I recommend doing it that way. Most of my theater rentals, and that's kind of the rental contract I'm showing you, I do it in the calendar. And then I add on the additional date of the rehearsal. So let's walk through that. Okay. So I pick my day. I create my rental booking. And we're in, okay. And I'll just put it under mine. With your person. Now, household accounts work beautifully. Business and organizations, not so much. And Trek is actually looking into this. I've kind of brought it to their attention. When you select a business or organization, because this is a required field, it won't populate anything there the first time you do it. When you go back to make adjustments, it will. And it took me till I was blue in the face to finally get them to understand that. But they now are aware of it and they're going to fix it. So sometimes if I'm doing a rental for an organization, I'll set them up as a household, set up the rental contract, and then go back and change them back to an organization or business, and it works fine. If you really want your system to be clean like that, which I do. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to check your contract type. Now, as you can tell, we do a lot of different things. So we just need room rental because we're not doing anything else except the theater. So I pick my contract type first. Okay, I have my facility already picked out, and then I'm going to do, you give it a name, put in any other information that you need, and then this is where you're going to pick the function, and this function is going to pull in the price. So I'm going to do a hourly. So this is a rental that we're doing by hourly. Okay. And then I'm going to choose my times. So I'm going to do, let's say 12 to 2 p.m. Okay. And I hit save. And this part, be patient. And especially because I'm in Sandbox, be patient. It takes a little bit for it to kind of get to the next screen in live. Sandbox is even more fun. It gives me time to get water. Okay. Any questions so far? Am I going too fast? I'm trying to just give an overview here. All right.
Laura,
Yes.
it's Jennifer from Bender.
Hi.
Have you found a way? We change our prices on our rentals every year, and we frequently book 2 years out.
Mhm.
So for example, we end up with functions like theater rehearsal, fiscal year 22, theater rehearsal, fiscal year 23. Have you found a better way to deal with price increases when, right, we need them all to be active? Could we,
Right.
we could still take rentals for this fiscal year if the space is available, but we have different pricing now for next year.
So we do pricing updates on June 1st. And so once I get the new pricing, I go in and I actually just update the product. And then I know going forward, any new rental I have will have the new price. And if I'm putting in a past one that I just hadn't put in the system yet, that I'd already guaranteed the older price, I just override it.
Okay.
And then that way I don't have, a new product every year. You can reuse products as long as they're not actively being used by, a course registration or a membership or something like that. You can just rewrite the pricing on a current price level. Okay.
Hey, Laura, there's a question in chat. I don't know if you saw it from Louise from Columbus.
No, I did the chat to see. What is it? Sorry.
I can just tell you, it's our contract type set up ahead of time. Or can
I'm
it be
sorry?
started from the booking details screen?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Sorry.
Our contract type set ahead of time, or can it be started from the booking details screen?
Can the contract be? Wait, I'm confused. Sorry.
So I'll go ahead and ask it.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, and I only sent it to Gabe because I didn't want to interrupt you, Laura.
I didn't know.
Can when you're at the booking details screen and you enter the contract type, do you have to set those up ahead of time, or can
Yes.
you? Okay.
Yes, it's not going to populate. That's why. So you want to go through the contract type. You want to set the price level. You want to set all of this up before you get to where you're putting in the rental.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we selected hourly, and so now it's. I was trying to find why it's not pulling in my price here. That's interesting. Okay, but I have it down here. So it's 2 hours, $7.50, which is correct. Now I want to add in my rehearsal. So on this screen, you have different options. You have the add booking. You can add another booking or booking series. We can do the add-ons. The add-ons, hopefully it's working in Sandbox. Yes. Okay. Those I added before too. So I created products for those. I associated them with the rental. And so now I can go in and I can say, oh, I'm going to need security for this. I'm going to need a cleaning fee. And you just select them and wait for them to populate down here. And you'll be able to add it to the contract price. If you have items that always go together in your rental, you can do a rental bundle of the add-ons. So if okay, we're going to charge you for the piano, we're going to charge you for this, it's a special package, you can create rental bundles too. And then you only got to select one thing. I don't use it that way, but it is kind of a cool feature. Okay. So now we have the add-on here of 200. Okay. And our total is going up, and I still don't, okay, there's something wrong with my product. It's not pulling the pricing right, but I'll look at that later.
Laura, do you think that's because it's a future due? Because it hasn't happened yet? Because that's what happens with my rental
Yes,
contracts.
you're right.
So-
Sorry, I missed that date. Yes, I thought I was in January.
No worries.
You're right. I thought I was in January when I pulled the calendar up. Thank you. I'm already ahead of myself here with days. I don't even know I'm in February. Okay, you're right. Yes, that is exactly why. Okay, so now I'm going to add a booking. And actually, I'll do the rehearsal in the past so you can see it that way too. Okay, so same thing. We're going to choose the function. Okay, so we have our rehearsal, and that is a separate function because we do a different hourly rate for the rehearsals. And then just go through your normal facility availability search of finding your room. And then we're going to pull the days, and now I'm just going to pull the past so you can see it kind of show up ahead of time. Okay, great. So it's there. I'm going to request it. Okay, and we're gonna do rehearsal. Okay, and there's our times. We're gonna save that. And it's going to slowly add to the list here. Okay. And there we go. Yes, and see, this is in the past, so it's adding it as a current, and then that is the future. Okay, because I have it set on start date. Okay, so that's adding them on. That is adding add-ons. You can also click here to verify what you've booked. So now the print contract I have not set up yet because I had somebody set up a more elaborate Conga solution for me. So if I hit print contract, I get an error message because I don't have it set up. If you're familiar with Conga, you can set up a template, and then where I showed you this, it would generate that from here. My Conga solution is set up to like automatically email to the person. It's a pretty cool Conga, but I couldn't tell you how they did it. Somebody else did it for me. Okay, but that's how you would print. So now we're gonna pay for it. We're gonna do the how I normally do it. So you hit firm, and it takes you to the payment screen. Sure, I'm in sandbox here. Yeah. Okay. And you can also edit these prices here with the pencil. If you, as you were asking, if you added the new rates and you wanted to honor the old rate, you can go in and manually adjust it here without having to create a new price level and product each time. Okay. I just love sandbox. It's so slow.
Can discounts be applied? Like,
Yes, yes, you'll have to, yes, you can assign discounts as well. Yes. Okay. All right. So because I have a future due, because I've set it up for the start date, this is, it's a little unique in the situation. So you can do the make payment, and you can do, the way we would do it is I would do half of this, and then I would do half of the future payment upfront to cover our 50% deposit. But you can also do it. I just realized why it's doing that the other way too. Oh, no, I'm gonna go back. On the other screen, when you had payment due, you can change that to change how that actually rotates in. And I'm sorry, I did, here. Day of each booking, okay? And then on transaction firm, it may not take me there now because I've already started the transaction. But if you want to do it all in one, you can do that. So this payment option will give you the flexibility on how you want to, if you want to set up the future payments for payment due, depending on how you did the price level. If that's confusing, I'm happy to kind of review that with you offline. But for just for this, we're just going to post the balance to the household because I don't want to take up time setting up the payment. You guys know how to do that. Of course. All right. Okay, fill that first. And then now we'll post. Okay. So that's the basic setup. So once you have it, then you can also edit it. Okay. And this is kind of a cool functionality I like because my rentals will book something and they book it out 1.5 years in advance. And then as we get closer, they go, oh, you know what? I need to change the times, or I need to do this, and I need to do that. Okay. So on the account, we have it as a quick link on our related list for the contracts. And then we also have it under our finance tab to find our rentals. So we can pull up our rental contracts here. And we can also do it from our quick links up here. You can see I do a lot of testing in mine. Okay. So this is the one. Let's see, where's the one we did today? Go. Is it? Yeah. Okay. Yes. This is it? Yeah. Okay. So when you go back into the rental contract is where you can go ahead and make changes. So if you hit modify rental contract, even though you've made the payments, and then you realize they want to add more time or take away time, is when you can go in and do an addendum to update the pricing. So you come here to addendum. Wait for it. Okay. And then I see my book is a different one, but that's okay. And what I can do, if I click on this and I come down here to time, I don't think this one is there. You can adjust the time. And when you do that, it's also going to adjust the pricing. So let's say I just change it to 1 hour. Hopefully this one had a hourly add-on.
So you need to make sure you know what type of price level is on each of those ahead of time
Yeah.
in order for it to be adjusted correctly.
Well, yeah, and that's why labeling them really helps. Now, this is my sandbox, so it's not labeled exactly how I normally have it in live. Because you know, we've changed it so many times. But you can see it's adjusted the pricing. So I went from a 10-hour rental down to a 1-hour rental. And it's going to adjust the pricing accordingly. So if they've already paid, I can hit firm and it'll do the refund. If it's more hours, I can hit firm and collect payment or post to account. So that's why the hourly really is helpful if you do it by the hourly. And even if you do the flat fee and you're just changing, you know, removing a time, removing a room, you can adjust it and then just hit firm. And then what will happen is you'll see down here, it has I have the parent rental contract, okay? And then the addendum. So it'll start listing them and you'll be able to see where they all connect together. So you can look at the first one all the way through the last changes.
Every time there's a change, is there an additional addendum? It'll be a new line.
Yes, yes. So if you have somebody that's changing them multiple times, you're going to have multiple addendums. So I definitely recommend doing a list view where you can kind of see that all in one way.
And then
And
how do you tell what's like the final and the current?
so you'll go by the rental contract number. So it's going to be the largest number.
Got it.
Yes. And then, you know, to cancel, you just cancel. And then after it's completed, you would go in and I don't know what it's over, and you do the completion. And when you cancel, you know, you put in, you know, why it's canceled. And then it will, you know, return whatever funds they paid or, you know, pull back if anything's still holding. And that's it. And then you still have the record of the rental contract. I mean, that's kind of a basic overview. And I've learned a lot of tips and tricks on different things, but I just kind of wanted to give you guys just an overview if you haven't used it, and if you're interested in using it or you use it and have some questions and stuff. So, but that's it. Does anybody have any other questions for me?
Yeah, Laura. Oh, sorry, Nicole, you want to go? So you raised your hand. So my question comes from reporting. I can pull reports of all the rental contracts, but they go over fiscal years. So I was wondering, do you have a report that might be for the day of each booking, as opposed to from when the contract was established. You know, like if I have a 6-month contract, but I want to see what I made, you know, January, February, March, as opposed to the whole 6 months, do you have a way to look at that?
When you say, do you want to see the bookings, do you want to see the contracts, or you want the revenue?
Oh, revenue.
Revenue, yeah. I'm still trying to figure out a good way to do that one. Lauren may have some ideas on that. She's usually good at that stuff. You know, I've thought about playing around with the Kanban view and kind of the way they do opportunities, and you can have the running tally of amounts, and kind of pulling that in and seeing if I could set that up for the rental contracts. But no, I have not figured out a way yet to get that, but that is on my list actually. So if you find it, I'd love to, if anybody has them, please
Yeah.
share.
Yeah, I'm looking for that for sure, because that'd be great. So maybe if someone else.
I have some
on the call has
ideas, so if you want, you and I can like meet offline and kind of run some ideas off each other, because I think we're both looking for the same thing. That would be helpful.
it. Okay, I'm in to join a team. with that.
Or in the breakout if Adam's.
Yeah, right.
I had a couple questions. Can you assign more than one room to a rental?
Yes,
Okay.
you can, and I do that a lot too. In the summer, we rent our theater and then we rent our auditorium for like a reception. And yes, you can
Yeah.
pull in as many different functions as you have. Yeah.
Okay. And then have you, or does anyone else do food with rentals? Like, is that something you would do as an add-on, like the other things? Or
Well,
another-
I would do it. I mean, I would probably do it as an add-on. I would definitely do it as an add-on. You really want the rental to be a facility. So as long as all the facilities have the same, are pulling from the same rental contract type, you can pull them all into one rental contract. If they have different rental contract types, they will not pull to the same, and that's when the functionality becomes important. So that's why I was like, if it's something that, you know, if it's a room, I would just keep it all, the rental contract type as one, and then create multiple functions and assign the products there.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Laura, there's one, is there any other questions? Nicole, go ahead, and then we'll ask the one question in the chat, and then we'll wrap this portion up. So Nicole, go ahead, ask yours, and then we'll take the one in the chat.
Yeah, sorry. I just want to make sure I was understanding correctly. First, thanks for the overview. It was great. And I'll be in the breakout to talk more about those reports with you. But my question was, when you book rental, you charge them half of it up front. So the other half is sitting as a currently immediately due balance on a household. Is that correct? So if that household wants to register for something, does that not prevent them from registering for other programming?
Yes, but I just had a conversation with Trek yesterday about that, and I'm getting some more information that there is another way to do this with the outstanding balance, because we do have a rule on our registrations that you can't register with an outstanding balance. But I've been promised, and I'm waiting on the documentation from them, that there is another way to do this for rental contracts so that it doesn't show as an outstanding balance and they can still register. I will share when I get it.
JCC Chicago hat in the ring. We want it too, and we support you in that.
I will share that once I get it, definitely. Yes.
Ender's there also.
Yes, and I'll share with everybody. I'll reply to everybody.
Yep.
Seeing all the hands pop up. We got
know.
Laura, we got a lot of people supporting you on that. One last question. I'm from Sally, and I'll just read it here. It says, is there a way to show what rooms are available and then to see they are booked?
The best way to do that is a facility availability search. If you're not sure what room to use for your rental, then I would do it that way. And you can definitely start a rental contract that way. I just prefer the calendar because I know what's on the calendar for that. My rentals are in that room, and I know that I'm only booking for that room.
Great.
Okay, so there's nowhere like to have a calendar that you can see all the rooms that are available and
Well,
then which is booked.
So yes and no. Brad, do you mind for a second if I just share one quick thing?
Please, go ahead.
Okay.
This is great. Thank you.
Okay. So let me get back to, and hopefully this is a global calendar. If you haven't used the global calendar yet, that is a pretty good functionality. So what you can do is you have different profiles you can set up. So like I have for our dance studios, and what it does is it gives you 5 different facilities to see at once. So it won't show you kind of a calendar, but it will go into the day. And as long as it's finished saving, I can show you. All right. So if I go to the day view, I can have the 5 rooms and I can see, you know, what's in what. So the global calendar is helpful for that. I have requested with them that this is only like 10% of what we need, because I agree, I need something in a larger picture sometimes when I'm looking at the agency hall. And so I put in an enhancement request. So I advise you to do the same. And if we keep bugging them, they might do it.
And the important question is that once something's booked a room, no one else can come in and book that same room at that same time. Does that work well?
Well, there's yes and no. If I wanted to book something at this time, if I do the facility availability search, it'll stop me. But if I book directly, I can override that. So there's different, you know, there's ways around booking on top of it. It just depends. Like we only allow one person here to do bookings. So we kind of streamline that here so that it doesn't get out of control. But that's just the way we do it. Because otherwise people just start, you know, playing that, oh, I didn't see it was booked.
Great.
You
Well,
mean
Laura,
that person is there too?
great. Laura, thank you so much. And thanks for taking us in the sandbox. And, you know, that was a really great way to see it. And obviously lots of questions. I'm sure it will be continued in the breakout, and hopefully over the months, we'll get some further movement to enhance that feature. Before we go to breakouts, want to turn it over to Fred Weiner for a moment. Fred is the retiring as the interim CEO and CFO for the Peninsula JCC as of February 1st. So Fred, congratulations to you, and wishing you all the best in retirement. And we will leave you an open invitation to join this group, even in retirement. If you ever want to come back for some more fun, you are always welcome. So Fred, take it away.
Well, thank you, Brad, and everybody. I just wanted to take this opportunity not to gain sympathy for my future endeavors here, but really to wish you all well, and to say that, you know, I've sort of instigated, or among a few others, instigated this process with Traction. Oh, I think it was 8 years ago, and trying to get a CRM for JCCs, and the Peninsula JCC with San Francisco and Atlanta were primarily the first investors, I would say, in this product. So I do want to say that over time things have gotten difficult with Traction. I still believe that Salesforce and this opportunity with Traction is the best to go, but not what I had imagined. I don't think right now there really isn't any other alternative for JCCs. In any case, I implore you to continue to coalesce and push Traction to change. I mean, some of the questions in the facilities we put in as requirements, like the calendar 4 years ago. So that's still outstanding. And I'm sorry that my colleague Manpreet Singh doesn't look like he's with us today, but he is. We're putting out our camp registration, which we customize, as I think some of you heard in the past. So that's going out today. So he, even with that camp, we were having severe problems with, for those participants that needed to make multiple registrations, as you can imagine, for family doing many different sessions during the summer, having different age children, having different options that we have for camp. So we couldn't, at one point about a few weeks ago, the program would just collapse when we would get more than, say, 8 registrations, even though that may be pretty common. So we pushed and pushed. They kept saying, no, that's the way it is, and something's wrong with your programming and all that kind of thing. And finally, he had to get really upset, and they did find a patch to help us get it so that we've tested up to 20 registrations, and it seems to work. So again, that's just a small example of something that I hope that you will, again, coalesce and make sure that you get what we want, because without the JCCs doing this, even though they do have other clients, WISE, whatever, this won't be something that will be valuable for the long term. They're very nice people. They're Canadians. They're fun. But they've sort of pushed aside the relationship that we once had as primary investors or partners. And so that was a disappointment. But I don't mean to turn this into a negative thing. I'm just trying to say good luck to you all. I have a great passion for your work, our work, and it's just a matter of time when you have to make a decision like I did to step away and spend time with my family. So again, all the best. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Congratulations, Fred.
Yeah, congratulations, Fred. Thank you. Enjoy the time with the family, and hope retirement is meaningful. And as we said, if you ever want to check back in, I'm sure you will keep in touch with your
I'll be
there, but you are.
Yeah, I'll be around. I'm going to be doing just a very limited transitional consulting with Jordan Schenker, who's our permanent CEO, coming on February 1st. And if there's something to pass along through him, I'll be grateful to have some contact with you all.
Great. Thank you, Fred, and congratulations
welcome.
again.
Thank you.
So we're just at about 1:44. Just a couple of quick housekeeping. We will look for our next meeting to be in February, and just trying to finalize a date on that, and we'll get a piece out to everybody with that, and we'll continue to communicate. We're going to move to our 3 breakout rooms, again scheduled to end at 2. And Gabe, thank you for posting them in there. It's rentals continued, how JCCs manage the traction rec upgrades, and the third one is topics for future meetings. And Laura will continue with the rentals. Laura Dunn will take on the facilitating the how JCCs manage the traction rec upgrades, and Diane will take on the topics for future community of practice meetings. So with that, please feel free to jump into a group, and have a wonderful day, everybody. Thank you again.